The Jaguars have won the toss, but yet they are deferring. They will kick it away to the Rams, putting that defense on the field and trying to start off, John, like we talked about, that physical tone.
Well, you know, Ron, I think Jack Del Rio's sending a message to his defense. It's time to start playing the type of football they expected. They intended to be a 4-3 defense this year due to injuries to a couple of starting defensive ends and Reggie Hayward and Mincy, who they liked in the offseason. They've gone to a 3-4 as a base. It's failed to get any pressure, as we talked about in the open. He wants to put him out there right away. Amendola
back deep, just recently brought in. He's had a couple nice returns, but they've had some penalties on those returns. The St. Louis Rams now have the longest current losing streak in the NFL at 15 games, but they are 2-0 versus the Jags and have won 4 of their last 5 against AFC South teams. But for that man right there, Spagnuolo, all he wants is a win.
Well, they need a win. It's been 15 weeks. It's been a long time. They need a win. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I like Steve Spagnuolo, how he's handling this team. They're positive. They need a win to validate what he's teaching.
Josh Scobie gets us going here in Jacksonville. This will be in the end zone, 1 yard deep. Amendola with a move, another move, jumps out beyond the pile, and with a nice return, he's out to the 26-yard line. Gerald Alexander coming down with the tackle. Mark Bulger replaced Kyle Bowler in the fourth quarter last week versus Minnesota. Went a perfect 7 for 7 for 88 yards, but not enough to get the win. He injured his rotator cuff a couple weeks ago. He missed 2 starts in the process, but the Rams offense happy to have him back in control. First and 10 give to Jackson, and Jackson going backwards. That's the man that Jack Del Rio said, #1, we have got to stop Steven Jackson. And a look at the Jaguars' defensive lineups. They will mix it around now, and they'll play some 3-4. In fact, they converted to a 3-4 defense this year, coming in after last year as a 4-3 team.
Yes, they have, and they just need more out of this defense. They've not been good this year, and they're looking to improve here today.
Rams back on the ball, quick 2nd and 8 throw, and it's complete. Keenan Burton, and Burton moves the chains close to midfield. So 21 yards, Bulger to Burton, first pass of the day. Rams pushing the ball upfield early.
You know, and Ron, right away, Bulger leaves off, or picks up where he left off last week. He's getting the ball out of his hands quickly, throwing accurately. Great play right off the bat from Mark Bulger to Keenan Burton.
The Rams in a no-huddle situation, moving very quickly now. Avery in return motion. The quick slant inside. Second throw, second completion to Keenan Burton. Working on the rookie Derek Cox. That's a pickup of 8. Ball across midfield.
And that's what you call a now route. The Jaguars load the box with 8 defenders. Rather than run into the 8 defenders and have an unblocked defender, you simply run a now route. You go to the slant real quickly. Bulger picks up on it. Good execution by the Rams here early.
2nd and 2. Bulger looking that way again. Pressure, sack. Atia Ellison, 3rd-year man out of Missouri, had 6 tackles last week against Seattle, comes up with the first sack of the day.
Well, that's a coverage sack right there, and it's this young man, Derek Harvey, who I think's been playing outstanding. They look for the now route right there to Keenan Burton, but Derek Harvey's in the angle. Last time he came, Bulger's expecting him to come. That's what the 3-4 can do for you. A big guy like Harvey, sometimes he's rushing. Right there, he drops in coverage, and it confuses the Rams.
Throwback screen. Jackson, he's got room. He'll get the first and then some. Jackson pounds his way down just inside the 30-yard line. A great call by Pat Shurmur, the Rams offensive coordinator, a pickup of 18.
And Ron, you know, you're seeing it. They talked about it early in the season. Steven Jackson's going to line here. They're going to go with the screen, but they talked about how they want to utilize him like they did Brian Westbrook up in Philly. Pat Shurmur comes from Philadelphia, the new offensive coordinator. As you watch these guys, they're starting to come up with more creative ways to use Steven Jackson. You have to do that because everybody's keying on him week in and week out.
They'll go back to Jackson in the power game on the right side. And Jackson moves the pile. That's going to be about 5 right there. You'll take that. And Steven Jackson, second leading rusher in the NFC, next to Adrian Peterson, tied for first in the NFC in total yards from scrimmage. So in spite of the record, Jackson doing it on the ground.
Yeah, he is, and this guy impresses you every time you see him. Everybody lines up and with their sole objective really to stop Steven Jackson first and foremost, but yet he produces week in, week out. He's an impressive player and an impressive guy who's great for this league.
Second down and 5. Plenty of time for Bulger. Looks inside, he's got Jackson. Jackson inside the 20-yard line, and that'll be a Rams first down. A pickup of 6.
You know, Jack Del Rio talked about Steven Jackson, and typically we hear about him physically. You know, he's big, he's strong, and he talked about that. But, he made a real interesting point, likening him to Larry Fitzgerald at Arizona. I'm going, where is he going with this? Dreadlocks, whatever. But he feels like these are star players that carry themselves with a level of class, and they're just good for the league. So nice respect from Jack Del Rio for a guy who certainly has earned it.
The Rams looking to score here, the only team in the NFL without any points in the first quarter. They spread them out. They'll go back to the ground game, a pickup of about 2 yards. That's Kenneth Darby, second-year man out of Alabama.
Now, as you look at the Rams last week, they did a great job moving the field. They outgained the Minnesota Vikings, but here's the deal. They get in that red zone. 3 of them resulted in turnovers. You cannot do that. As Steve Spagnuolo said, you can stub your toe and kick a field goal here and there. We came out with 0 points because of these turnovers. They have to protect the football today.
2 crucial turnovers inside the 5-yard line really hurt them. Second and 8. Going up the corner of the end zone, caught. Avery, touchdown Rams. He beat Derek Cox, 17 yards.
And Donnie Avery, Ron, is a guy that they've been looking to get going. I talked to Kyle Bowler, the backup quarterback on the field today. He said Donnie is such a confidence guy, and that confidence is starting to come. They're starting, I think, sometimes, you come in as a coaching staff, you have new systems. Well, sometimes it takes a little while for the coordinator, Pat Shermer and Steve Spagnuolo, to learn how to use Donnie Avery. And now I think they're getting that feel, and Donnie Avery has had a big couple of weeks and becoming the explosive player that everyone knows he can be.
The extra point, good. Josh Brown kicks it away. Brian Witherspoon takes it on the run at about the 12, and he's got a gap. Witherspoon out past the 40-yard line, finally brought down by Billy Badgema, but a great return on a very short kick. Let's go back to the touchdown by Avery.
We look at this touchdown. First of all, look at the defense. This is Derek Cox, the rookie. His help is inside, and Gerald Alexander, the safety. When Donnie Avery posts him up, he gets inside leverage. Your help is inside. You better get outside. That's a rookie mistake. Derek Cox has been playing well. Nice route by Donnie Avery, and a beautiful, accurate pass by Mark Bulger. Good execution by the Rams.
So David Garrard and the offense take over at the 42-yard line. Jones-Drew. He's been wanting to run the ball more. Tries to get outside. A nice open field tackle there by Bradley Fletcher. A pickup of 2. And that offense led by Garrard. Lowest interception percentage in the NFL this year and all time for active NFL quarterbacks. Throwing 1 interception about every 52 passes. I'll take that. Up front, 2 rookie offensive tackles. Monroe along with Britton. They have been tested. They may be tested again today. They're solid inside with veterans. And they've got Torrey Holt on the outside, the former Rams. Second and 8. They go back to the ground game again. A pickup of another 2. Jones-Drew. Atagwe comes up. The Rams on defense. Leonard Little leading the team in sacks with 3. Lawan Ramsey, Ryan, and Chris Long. James Laurinaitis, second-round pick out of Ohio State, got his first interception last week. Did it in grand style, too, going against Brett Favre. The secondary, they've been picked on a little bit. They've had some changes back there as well. 3rd and 7. Quick throw on the slant. And that's a guy that Rams fans will know very well. Torrey Holt, big game Holt. He gets it inside. The first down, a pickup of 10 yards, working on Ron Bartel.
And Torrey said this was going to be an emotional day for him. I've been there. You go back, you've spent a lot of time in one community with one organization. You come back to play your teammates. Everybody says the same thing, just another game. Not so fast. It's completely different. There's a ton of emotions. Torrey Holt off to a great start for the Jags.
Former Ram of 10 years, still a Ram second all-time leading receiver behind Isaac Bruce. Play action, looking deep, going deep. The long sail route outside, and it's Holt again. Holt is inside the 10-yard line. Bartell again on the coverage. A pickup this time of 41 yards.
And both Torrey and David Garrard talk. They're starting to get to know each other. Wow. Torrey Holt has always been known for his route running ability. He's done it often against Ron Bartell in practice, but he just took him to school there again. And Torrey Holt off to an impressive start, but that's something this guy has done throughout his illustrious career.
And that puts Holt over 13,000 career receiving yards. As you see there, first and goal. Looking for the end zone, touchdown Jaguars. Maurice Jones-Drew for his 6th rushing touchdown of the season.
Well, Ron, when you come off a 41-0 shellacking, you know what you do? You go to your best players. And Maurice Jones-Drew and Torrey Holt, those are those guys for the Jags in my mind. Great execution by the Jacksonville Jaguars on that drive, getting it to your big guns. Maurice Jones-Drew called for more runs. He got it early, and he put it in the end zone.
But, John, that's just too easy. 5 plays, 58 yards coming off the great return. And a botched snap on the extra point. And Podlesh has to eat it. A replay of the extra point, and Adam Podlesh just drops the ball.
Yeah, good snap by Jeremy Kane, the long snapper. Podlesh, something you do over and over, you practice over and over. He just plain dropped it. 1 point can be crucial in this league. We'll see if that comes back to haunt him.
So the Jags kick it away. Amendola racing over. He'll take it 1 yard deep. Breaks the first wave again. Amendola out of the box. 2 men to beat. He beats the kicker, no problem. Pushed out of bounds at the Jaguars' 40-yard line. Olger working on 13 straight completions. Going deep, he's got a man, and it's intercepted. Rasheed Mathis. And Mathis gets it back to the 18-yard line. Give to Drew. Jones-Drew stacked up quickly. Let's go back to the interception.
And you know, Ron, I think Mel Tucker talked about fundamentals. Look at Rasheed Mathis' eyes right here, but now they go to the receiver. Last week, his eyes were in the backfield on the quarterback. As a corner, you know this, Ron. You have to get your eyes on that receiver. He does that. When you play with good technique and fundamentals, and you're this good an athlete, good things happen. Very nice play and very nice adjustment to a rough week by Rasheed Mathis.
Speaking of Mel Tucker, Jaguars defensive coordinator, taking over there in his first year, 2nd and 8. Check down throw. Jones-Drew, nice tackle. He'll be about 3 yards shy of the first down, a pickup of 4. Will Witherspoon with the tackle.
If you talk to these Jacksonville offensive coaches, I talked to Mike Shula, their quarterback coach. He said they don't really look at Maurice Jones-Drew in terms of carries. They always count and account for the touches. Whether he's running the ball, whether he's catching the ball, they want 20 to 25 touches for Maurice Jones-Drew a game. They're off to a good start.
34. Rams bluff blitz, bring only 4. Good coverage down the field. Garrard has to make a desperation throw, but they can't hook up, and that'll bring on the punt team for Jacksonville. Intended for Mike Thomas. Pressure on the plate by C.J. Aiyuk.
John, you hit it on the head. Good coverage. That was it wasn't a sack, but it was a coverage. Get off the field on 3rd down for the St. Louis Rams. Garrard stayed in the pocket. There was nothing there. He tried to escape, nothing there. He only had a short little window there. Put it in a good spot, but nice job by the St. Louis Rams, bouncing back from some adversity on the early turnover.
So Podlesh handles this one a little better than he handled the field goal snap, or extra point snap, drives it. Amendola Amendola again with a nice return, but a nice hit coming down the pipe. Rams stack up Steven Jackson. Jaguars playing that tough inside.
I think Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams, is on the right track as they go no huddle here. But get the ball back in Steven Jackson's hands. You had a nice drive on that on the first drive of the game that resulted in a touchdown. You go for a quick strike. I don't have a problem with that. An aggressive turnover is okay. Now you got to get back in the flow of your offense with Steven Jackson.
Pick up a 2, 2nd and 8, and they're there again. And a guy who's been there all year long, Derek Harvey. No yards on the play.
And Derek Harvey's a guy who was the 8th pick in the draft last year, and people have been disappointed, but I turn on the film, and this guy is dominating whoever is in front of him. Right there, he takes the blocker, Billy Bajema, defeats him, then gets on the play on a big-time back in Steven Jackson. This guy's been playing good football. It's not being recognized because the numbers aren't there in terms of sacks, but he's playing at a Pro Bowl level in my mind.
3rd and 8. Complete. Amendola looks like he went backwards about a yard shy of the first down. It will be 4th down. Donnie Jones punts that away, gets that one off the side of his foot. Throw outside the completion to Mike Sims Walker, seeing action today, but last week a different story. Inactive versus Seattle for violating team rules the night before.
Yeah, you know, and that, you ask, how does a team lose 41-0 that's going pretty good? Well, things like that happen. First of all, you take a long trip out west. One of your best players, Mike Sims Walker, has really emerged as really their #1 receiver. He shows up late for curfew. You bench him. Mike Thomas, who's a rookie, got no reps in practice this week, and he's expected to go play. They want to get Mike Sims Walker back involved today.
A pickup of 9, 2nd and 1 give, easy first down there for Jones-Drew. Leonard Little bringing him down, and last week just destroyed by Seattle, 41-0, the 2nd worst loss in team history. Seahawks didn't even throw, or didn't have to throw the last 11 minutes of the game. That's how bad it was. The last time the Jags had lost that bad, the first year of the franchise, they lost 44-0 to the Detroit Lions. So that just kind of puts it in perspective and the kind of urgency the Jaguars come out here with today at home. Going deep, got a man open. Sims Walker has it at the Rams' 30-yard line. Craig Dahl brings him down, but a huge pickup. 35 yards. Excuse me, John.
I'm sorry. And when we talk to David Garrard, you could see how much he likes this young receiver. When you start making comparisons to the late Jaguar Jimmy Smith and talking about how smooth he is, and he's the closest thing they've had since Jimmy Smith, you know you like someone. This is a big guy. David Garrard says he's easy to throw to. He's smooth. I know where he's going to be. He gets separation at the top of the route. You saw right there, separation at the top of the route creates separation. David Garrard hits him in stride.
Quick throw outside. That's to Mike Thomas. 4th round pick out of Arizona. No yards on the play. And Mike Thomas, another young Jaguar wide receiver, a whole slew of them on this team. And another reason they brought in Torrey Holt, we mentioned this earlier, just to give these guys some direction, say, hey, this is how we do, this is how we practice from the time we walk into the facility to the time we leave at night.
Yeah, there's no greater pro than Torrey Holt on his approach to the game, and he is rubbing off on these young receivers.
Second and 10 runs. Hitting the hole hard there. Bartell came up from the corner spot, a pickup of 2. You could hear the calls from the offensive line by our great Fox Audio down there, and a look at the receivers for the Jacksonville Jaguars in career games versus Torrey Holt's numbers.
It's Torrey Holt, an old vet, and a bunch of young folks. And, you know, Mike Sims Walker's been around for a little bit, but he's been hurt for 2 years. Torrey Holt, his impact on this entire team. We talked to Darryl Smith, a linebacker, what he's learned from him. I think a great addition for these Jacksonville Jaguars.
3rd and 8. Time winding down here in the 3rd. Pressure around the backside. Garrard feels it, gets out of the pocket. Gets a nice block, gets a first down, and he gets out of bounds. 1st and 10 for Jacksonville in the red zone. The give to Drew, ball's loose. The Rams say they have it. And there's the word from Jeff Triplett, our referee. The Rams do have it.
And Ron, that's what these St. Louis Rams need. They've been the ones turning the ball over all year. They need some luck of their own. And Ron Bartell, I think, comes in off the corner here. Ron Bartell puts a good lick on Maurice Jones-Drew, and the ball slips out of there. It's the Rams we intended to talk about with ball security, and the Jags, Maurice Jones-Drew, who doesn't fumble often, turns it over in the red zone. Costly miss for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So the Rams will take over 1st and 10. Ball on the 15-yard line. The give to Jackson. Jackson trying to cut it back. Not much there. 2nd and 8, pickup of 2. Play is stopped. We'll check in for the first time today with our referee, Jeff Triplett.
False start. Number 70, the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
All right, Jeff, that's on Alex Barron, the left tackle. And Barron was replaced mid-game 2 weeks ago against San Francisco by John Greco. Greco is inactive today, but Barron's been kind of up and down.
Yeah, but you know, last week he really responded. Steve Spagnuolo was exceptionally proud of him. He went up against Jared Allen, held him to no sacks after Jared Allen had 4.5 the week before. He really responded to the benching.
2nd and 13, and I just mentioned the run game's getting stuffed thus far. Jackson, nothing much inside.
You talk about 8 in the box. I think they had 10 in the box right there. They were lined up to stop Steven Jackson, and that's tough. That's where you have to go to your other weapons. Your passing game has started to get going. Donnie Avery's getting hot. The last 2 weeks, he's averaging 16 yards per catch. Danny Amendola's become an option. Keenan Burton starts spreading the football around. 3rd and longs are hard to convert in this league.
Looking screen. Get it off late. Jackson jumps through the hole for the Rams' first down. A great effort by Steven Jackson, and he moves the chains. A pickup of 16 yards.
And Ron, I can't tell you, you know, Jacksonville right there knew that Steven Jackson was going to get the ball. Steven Jackson's right here on the screen. They do a nice job right there getting all over Steven Jackson. Bolger puts it where only Steven Jackson can get it, and then Steven Jackson does what only he can do. He carries the pile, he makes a little move, eludes the tackle by Brian Ewu, and then carries guys a couple yards for the first down.
And the scoring drive, the opening drive, they had a nice 3rd down and 10 conversion to Jackson as well. Going down the sidelines, knocked away. Nice play there. That's the rookie Derek Cox. We talked about him a lot, John. You like him working on Donnie Avery.
Derek Cox has a lot of tools. He leads this team in takeaways with 3 of them, 2 interceptions. He's very raw, like you'd expect a rookie to be. We saw him early on lose the outside technique on the touchdown to Avery, but he does things like that right there, hanging with Donnie Avery and getting the pass defense that really make you think this guy's going to be a special player. And it looks like Donnie Avery came up a little injured on that play.
2nd and 10, Jackson trying to turn the corner. Nice play there. Clint Ingram, who's been nicked up the last couple weeks, 4-year man out of Oklahoma, shuts down the edge and makes the tackle.
And Donnie Avery was so important to this team early on. Everyone's keying on Steven Jackson as you see Donnie on the sidelines a little banged up right now. But Donnie Avery the last 2 weeks, 8 catches for 134 yards, 16 yards per catch. That's the explosiveness they've expected from him, and that's what he brings to this offense. They need him healthy.
A loss of 2 on the play. 3rd and long. They check it down to McMichael, and McMichael will be well short of the first down. He got 3, they needed 12. That'll bring on Donnie Jones.
For St. Louis, you have to keep yourself. They converted a 3rd and 11 earlier with the screen to Steven Jackson. You can't make a living of converting on 3rd and 10+ conversions. You have to get yourself in manageable 3rd downs. Right there, I think the turnover bug spooked them a little bit. They aren't going to throw the ball downfield. When they've continued to turn the ball over, they take the safe check down and have to punt.
Donnie Jones, his last punt was 29 yards. He's got a healthy 49-yard average, and he shanks another one. So a 1-point game here in Jacksonville. The Jaguars offense will take over. Ball spotted at the 30-yard line, and a quick look at the Jaguars offensive leaders. As we mentioned, both running backs, a tough go of it. On the other side, Jackson, 7 carries, 11 yards. 1st and 10 throw, the slant inside, complete Sims Walker. Walker, a good healthy pickup, about 8 or 9. Witherspoon on the tackle.
Again, Ron, much like the Jaguars stacking the box to stop Steven Jackson, this Rams defense is stacking their box to stop Maurice Jones-Drew. So what do? You don't keep pounding your head into a wall. You get the ball to your receivers. You start to spread it around. Good quick slant by Mike Sims Walker right there.
Now they'll go back to the run game. Jones-Drew is going to have to dance. And he couldn't dance out of that constriction. Clifton Ryan is all over him. That's a loss of 3.
We talk about stacking the box. Look at all these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 in the box. How about that? You know, and sometimes you can run into it, sometimes you can't. Unblocked guys in this league are gonna make plays, even on special backs. Nice play by Clifton Ryan.
I like the way they stayed home there. You saw James Hall not chasing it across the football, staying backside to help out late. 3rd and 5, blitz, wide open man. That's Jones-Drew. And Drew across midfield, and a Jaguars 1st down. Brought down by David Roach, a pickup of 16.
Well, the Rams bring pressure on this, and this is one thing I saw on film versus Jacksonville. You're going to see Laurinaitis, Dahl. They're all up there. They're going to bring pressure, but somebody has to have Maurice Jones-Drew. You saw a lot of free runners last week, and sometimes you just try to overload aside, but you have to account for guys coming out of the backfield. That's not sound to have that many free runners. They've got to clean that up. The Jaguars obviously saw it and took advantage of it.
Greg Jones checks in for Jones-Drew. Sims Walker in motion. Pump and go. It's not there. Too late. Sack. James Hall. Hall has been subbing in and out with Chris Long. And Hall picks up his 3rd sack of the year.
And that's a coverage sack. Jonathan Wade, who hasn't been starting but rotating, does a great job of staying back on the double move. They tried to double move him with Torrey Holt. Jonathan Wade doesn't go for it. It leads to a sack. That's a coverage sack all day long. Nice job by Jonathan Wade.
Hall brought in a trade from the Detroit Lions back in 07. 32 years old, but can still get to the quarterback, especially when he holds it that long. 2nd and 14. He waits for the clearing route to Sims Walker. Walker with a nice move inside. Pushes it down to about the 43-yard line. Laurinaitis finally brings him down.
This Mike Sims Walker, he's a guy who really jumps at you when you see him in person and when you see him on the tape. I talked to Torrey Holt about Mike Sims Walker, and he said he has all the tools, and physically and mentally, everybody on the Jaguars went out of their way to say last week's suspension, that type of behavior from Mike Sims Walker is out of character. But Torrey says he's a big guy who can change direction. He thinks he's going to be a big-time football player.
4 catches for 61 yards already for Sims Walker, a pickup of 9 there. Good pocket. Pocket collapses. No place again to throw the football. That time, Leonard Little coming around. And that'll bring up 4th down punting situation for the Jaguars. So again, the Rams defense stepping up, holding, and getting off the field.
Yeah, they are. And you talk about consistencies for these St. Louis Rams. Leonard Little has been one of those guys. His 85th career sack. He's been doing this well for a long time. He pushes a rookie, Eben Britton, around right there and gets after the quarterback. That's what Leonard Little does. He's continuing to do it well this year.
That'll bring on Adam Podlesh, sporting a 41.7 yard per punt average. He'll try to aim this one out of bounds. He dropped it backwards. I don't know if you caught that or not. Didn't get a lot of it. Fair catch called by Amendola. 2 tight end set. Jackson outside. Lowers his head, drives his feet, still going. He'll have about 8 or 9. Nice block coming out of the backfield by Alex Barron, the left tackle. That's a pickup of 9. 7-6 game here in Jacksonville. The Rams started off hot, got in the end zone early. Their first touchdown, first points in the first quarter this year. Jacksonville came back, drove down the field after a nice kickoff return by Witherspoon, but botched the extra point. And that puts us where we're at. 2nd and 1. Bolger checks it down. Missed tackle. Jackson. Spin move. Looks as though he's got enough for the first down. Bolger throw the opposite side and a good open field tackle. Reggie Nelson coming down from the free safety spot. That's a loss of 3. Both backs having trouble running the ball out of the backfield. They've had success up to that point there with passes out of the backfield.
I don't want to take credit for this or anything, but Reggie Nelson was asking me about some tackling technique down on the field today. And I worked with him a little. I shouldn't say that, but I worked with him just a little bit. Just gave him 1 pointer, and good job by Reggie Nelson. That's a tough man to bring down in the open field in Steven Jackson. And you look at these guys, the stars of each team, Steven Jackson and Maurice Jones-Drew getting plenty of touches here today, both running the ball and receiving.
Back to Jackson. They keep pounding it. And to a man, every defensive player we've talked to has said the running back they fear the most in the league is Steven Jackson.
Yeah, and you're not just, excluding Adrian Peterson.
Right.
Everyone knows Adrian Peterson's incredible, but they think probably the most complete back, and I'm not so sure I don't agree with him. He does everything well, and the thing that continues to astound me is that now Donnie Avery's out. Everyone knows they're going to Steven Jackson, but yet he continues to produce.
3rd and 4. The quick throw, Burton looks as though he's got the first down. Let's see where they mark it.
Bolger's pass complete to number 14.
Keenan Burton on the catch. They need Keaton Burton to step up right now. You look at this receiving core now, Ron. They came into the game with only 4 active, healthy wide receivers. Donnie Avery's out with the hip injury, questionable as to whether he'll return. They've got 3 receivers healthy, Amendola, Keenan Burton, and Tim Carter, who they signed last week. 2 of these guys, Amendola and Carter, weren't even with the team the majority of this season. They're very thin at wide receiver.
Carter just signed on the 13th of October after being cut in the preseason. San Pangado checks in at the halfback spot. He'll get the call. Puts his head down and goes straight ahead for a couple. Derek Landry there on the tackle. 2nd down and 7. Quick look there. Pat Sherman, Rams offensive coordinator. Check down throw inside. A good game, good call. And that's a Rams first down. Randy McMichael, he's been very quiet this year, coming into the game with 13 catches, picks that one up for 16 yards. And there's an injured Ram down. That is Tim Carter. And if there's anybody in the Jacksonville area that can play wide receiver, please report to the stadium. Burton, along with Amendola, the only 2 healthy wide receivers. You saw Carter on his feet. That's good news. 1st and 10. Carry to Steven Jackson. Jackson for a few, brought down by Darryl Smith. You saw Donnie Avery go out earlier. He's doubtful with the bruised hip.
And 2 guys actually that Steve Spagnuolo really applauded for their efforts of late. Richie Incognito, the right guard, and Jason Brown, their big free agent pickup. That's a huge hole right there. Anyone can run through that, let alone Steven Jackson. They're getting great movement inside.
I guess Tim Carter got our memo. He got back on the field. 2nd and 3. Seam route inside, incomplete, intended for Daniel Fells, the backup tight end, and Fells is shaken up. Looked like Mathis got him in the middle of the field. And Fells is still down. 3rd and 3. Blitz coming. They run it, and I believe they pick it up. Let's see, maybe just shy. Jackson at the last second lunged forward. Let's see how they spot it. From there, it looks short. It is short. And we'll be back for a 4th down. That is the 2-minute warning. And while we were away, they went ahead and measured anyway. And there you see they're just a little bit short. Ron Pitts, John Lynch. John, your assessment thus far?
Well, right here, I like the fact that Steve Spagnuolo's going for it. I think you're 0-5. Steven Jackson in offset. Looks like they're going to sneak it.
4th down play. They go right up the middle. You see the red line. That's our official mark for the 1st down. A marker is down on the play. It looks to be offside against Jacksonville.
Offside defense, number 51. Lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
And a critical mistake for these Jaguars, because, Ron, it looked like by the spot they were going to be short right there.
Right.
It looked like that was going to be Jacksonville's drive. And you're going to see Clint Ingram in the neutral zone right there. They call it on Clint Ingram, and as I said, it appeared as if the Jaguars had stopped them. Big turn of events, and positive for the St. Louis Rams.
Jackson, boy, Jackson has gone backwards all day long. Ingram right there.
Clint Ingram intent on making up for his mistake, lining up off sides, makes a beautiful open field tackle on Steven Jackson, something that's not easy to do.
A loss of 3. Bolger looked left, nothing there. He's in trouble, a marker down, and he throws that one away.
Tripping. Number 34, their offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's Kenneth Darby.
We talked about it in the open. I mean, this is something that has continued to kill these Rams. 7.8 per game. Second, only Buffalo has more at 8.8. I mean, that's almost 8 penalties a game. Steve Spagnuolo is frustrated because he is a detail coach. It's something they pound on every week. He said he doesn't mind aggressive penalties, but the undisciplined ones, and a tripping foul, that's an undisciplined one. It hurts your team.
Second and long. Quick screen. Darby with some room, cuts it back. Just barely got to the 35-yard line. 53 seconds and counting, a pickup of 7. Both teams with 3 timeouts, 1 timeout burned by Jacksonville.
Timeout, Jacksonville, their first.
It's important for St. Louis right here. It's third and a lot to go. You just got to get your field goal here. Put yourself in position for the field goal. You can go to half ahead by 4 points. You do not want to turn the ball over by trying to force it for the 1st down.
3rd and 16. Underneath throw, a catch and a hit. Burton caught it. Cox wrestles him to the ground.
Timeout.
And a timeout. Second timeout called by Jacksonville. Jacksonville with 1 left now, obviously hoping they can get another stop, get the ball back, save some time for their offense.
Absolutely, and a big-time play. We talked about him earlier, the rookie Derek Cox. One of the things that's been plaguing this Jacksonville defense is yards after the catch. He makes sure there were no yards after the catch by coming up aggressively and hitting Keenan Burton right there, and no yards after the catch. It puts him in a long field goal for the St. Louis Rams.
So the Rams will bring on Josh Brown. Brown 2 for 5 on field goals this year. He'll go from 52 yards out. He's hit 1 of 2 from this distance this year. Donnie Jones will hold. It's up. Plenty of distance. It's straight and it's good. Rams trying to get off that sled of 15 straight games of a loss. But as we said in the open, and at the top of the game, they are 2-0 against the Jags, and 4 of their last 5 are wins against NFC South opponents. Witherspoon out of the end zone. His last return was a good one. Ooh, and he gets blasted. Pressure inside. They brought the safety blitz, and it's incomplete. One timeout left for Jacksonville, 27 seconds. They pick it up, throw inside, a hot one, and a great catch by Sims Walker. Did you see that catch? Pressure hit, incomplete. That time, the other safety, Craig Dahl, came down with the blitz. 2nd and 10. 15 seconds left, no timeout. That one complete to Sims Walker, and Sims Walker gets out of bounds.
Garage pass is complete to number 11, Mike Sims Walker.
He's inside the 40-yard line, a pickup of 21 yards. But a good job of getting out of bounds. So they're going to bring the field goal unit on right now. So Scobie will come on to try. 58 yards. He's got 2 from over 50. That's the most in the NFL. In pregame, he hit from 55 yards out. And a timeout call by the Rams. They'll try to ice him up a little. I don't even know that that works. What do you think, John?
You know, Ron, and I'm not so sure the play prior to this, Mike Sims Walker. Now, if you as a defensive back hit the pile back and stop momentum and the guy gets out of bounds, they're supposed to roll the clock.
Right.
And instead, they gave him, Mike Sims Walker, he had a bounds. Watch him here. They all hold him up. But then at the end, if you drive that receiver back, which James Laurinaitis did, the clock is supposed to continue to go rather than stopping the clock for getting out of bounds.
That's a good point.
I think they missed that there and gave the Jags an opportunity for this kick.
So here we go, 58 yards out. Scobie to make it a 1-point game. It's drifting left. No good. The crowd, for whatever reason, thought maybe it went in. No, that one went to the left, and we still have a 4-point game here in Jacksonville. So we're underway here in the second half. Witherspoon had a couple decent returns. Floats outside, takes it back inside. Never looks like he's doing a whole lot, but his numbers are always decent. Gets that one out to the 30-yard line. David Roach on the tackle. And that's where Garrard will set up. Garrard said to us in the meeting the other day, we are still trying to define ourselves. John, you've talked about that. You talk to some guys on the team, they say we're a passing team, and other guys say, no, we're a run team, we need to get back to it. No matter how you slice it all up, they're down by 4 here to the Rams starting the second half.
Garrard was very efficient, 11 of 14 for 169 yards in the first half. Maybe we need to put it in his hands.
Look at that Rams defense. Paris Lennon sits inside over the center, and good coverage working on Holt, but a marker comes down. Ron Bartell, former teammate against former teammate. And let's see what Jeff Triplett calls.
Pass interference, number 24 of the defense. Automatic first down.
And Ron, you know, Torrey Holt talked to us about it. He's gone up against these guys a lot in practice, and Torrey said, you know, a lot of these guys, and I'm sure I think Ron Bartell did get a little contact early, but he said a lot of these guys for years have told me what they would do if I were on another team. He said, well, now I'm on another team. Let's see. Yeah. Torrey Holt's having a pretty good day.
Yeah, there was a little trash talking in the meeting rooms back in the day, so now it's time to get it all worked out. Jaguars go to the run game, coming up hard, boy. Craig Dahl along with Long. Dahl came up from that safety spot. Dahl has started the last couple of weeks in place of the injured James Butler. And I know, John, you like the way he comes up and puts the helmet on.
Yeah, I really do. I think he's been a nice addition. I know James Butler's very familiar with this defense, but Craig Dahl's really provided some juice. I think they're very high on him. His one issue has been durability. He's been hurt throughout his career, but he's playing at a high level right now.
2nd and 7. Check down throw to Drew. Drew with a decent pickup. He's going to be about 2-3 yards shy of the first. He picked up 4. Paris Lennon drives him out of bounds. And Drew talking some trash to the Rams sideline.
You know, but they've done a good job keeping him intact today. And one of the things, Ron, I know we talked about is Maurice Jones-Drew really misses Fred Taylor. I know from playing against him, his stature is different than most running backs at 5'7", 208. You know, he's a bowling ball, and sometimes when you see him all the time, you get used to playing that. But when you had Fred Taylor pounding, and then they need that change of pace. They need that compliment to Maurice Jones-Drew.
They give it to Drew. Drew will pound through using that bowling ball stature and get the first down. Should have been intercepted. Bartell, and he can't hold on. He'll think about that one until he gets another one.
And you know, if Bartell doesn't have it, Craig Dahl's got a great chance. He throws into clear double coverage right here. You see Bartell, and then if he doesn't get it, Craig Dahl's right there. That's something. When you're 0-5 and you want to get your first win, you've got to produce on those plays. You've got to play right in your hands, and you've got to finish the job. Ron Bartell needs to finish that play.
And that's one reason you see a lot of switching going on in the secondary for the Rams. Justin King along with Fletcher, all playing at corner. Garrard in trouble. Garrard, as big as strong as he is, he will not get out of that one. Give the sack credit to Clifton Ryan.
Nice job by these Rams getting pressure on David Garrard. You know, he's going to hold the ball. You've got to create some pressure. They're doing a nice job of creating pressure. Steve Spagnuolo's group. Everybody remembers those New York Giants, you know, that beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He was the defensive coordinator. He knows how to get pressure. He doesn't have the athletes that those Giants had, but they're getting there. They're getting pressure on David Garrard, and it's affecting the course of this game.
Spent some time under Tom Coughlin, the former coach here, and under the former Jim Johnson, the late Jim Johnson, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator. Pressure again. That's a free ball. What do they call it? No whistle. It's tipped. Craig Dahl comes up with it. That's a fumble. Leonard Little causes a fumble. He's working on the rookie, and Jeff Triplett says it is Rams' ball. They're saying he hit his arm, that ball up, as I said, a free ball. Now the question is, coming from Jacksonville, was his arm going forward? They would like to call that an incomplete pass.
You hear what the crowd thinks here in Jacksonville.
Jack Del Rio throws out the challenge flag. Let's take another look.
Let's watch David Garrard's arm. Is it moving forward?
Oh, boy,
that is close.
Jacksonville is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
That will be as close as a call as you'll ever see.
After reviewing the play, quarterback's arm is moving forward. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be fourth down on the 41-yard line. Please set the game clock to 12:30. 12:30. Jacksonville is not charged a timeout.
So what happens in result is the Rams get the ball, but just in a different fashion.
That's right.
That's all.
That's right.
Because that brings up fourth down here. So arguably they will get the ball, worst case scenario, with about a 20-yard difference, depending on what Amendola does.
Yeah, and that's a win for St. Louis.
That is a win.
Don't be, you know, just because they don't get the turnover. They're getting off the field on third down. We talked about the pressure. They're creating it. Sometimes you got to create it with the blitz, and they're getting there on Garrard.
Hodlish kicks it away, hoping to kill it inside the 5. Got a chance. Nope. He got the bad bounce. And this is a guy trying to go all over the Jacksonville Jaguar defense, and he does it on the 1st and 10 carry. 15 yards, Steven Jackson.
We talked about early in the first half how much respect this guy garners around the league, and you see why. This guy churns his legs. He's a big guy. He can beat you with power. He can bounce and beat you with speed. He's got it all. He's the total package. Big-time player, Steven Jackson.
Jackson at 50 yards rushing on the day. Throw outside, Fells shaken up. in the first half, got off the field under his own power. That time a nice reception outside.
We talked about Steven Jackson being able to do everything. Watch him here pick up the blitz. These are little things, but he goes low on Darryl Smith. He cuts his guy down. He does everything well. This guy is a pro's pro. He's weathered some tough years here, but he always remains positive, and you know, he's playing a great football game today, as he usually does.
2 tight end run, penetration in the backfield. He spins out of it. Reggie Nelson brings him down, but a nice play by Terrence Knighton, the 3rd-round pick out of Temple. He had him in the backfield but couldn't hold on. Nelson finished it off.
You mentioned Terrence Knighton, a rookie. There are a ton of rookies. I think it surprised me how many rookies. You look at their draft class, there's 7 of these guys. They're all playing. There's 3 free agents who have seen considerable time. These guys are playing rookies more than anybody else in this league.
3rd down and 5. Bootleg, throw inside to Amendola. Amendola had to make the tough catch but couldn't do it. It would have been a 1st down, but he couldn't hold on, and that'll bring on the punt team for the Rams.
Johnny Jones in confirmation for the Rams.
So the Rams came with a little exotic formation. Tried to get something fast in the flat. It wasn't there. Donnie Jones has struggled. Last 2 punts, 29 yards and 39 yards. He comes in with a 47-yard average. That one, another bad punt. Off his foot at least, gets a decent roll. And an 8-man front. They come out of it. Go get a run. Jones-Drew spins, and he goes down 1 yard shy of the 1st down. IU finally brings him down.
And you know, Ron, you talked about it, an 8-man front. Craig Dahl rolled down into the front. And if you're going to run into an 8-man front, you better break tackles. And that's exactly what Maurice Jones-Drew did right there. He ran through the tackle of Craig Dahl, and he got productive yards. He got 8 yards there. And Craig Dahl's free. Ron Bartell got the crack replace, and Maurice Jones-Drew ran right through that tackle.
John, anybody ever yell crack on those crack plays for you?
They did. I never heard them.
On the 2nd and 1 play, the cutback, and it's not there. Jones-Drew tried to go backside. He talked about the importance of the blocking backside on all cutback plays in this offense. But a good job by the Rams defense, a loss of 1 on the run.
Yeah, you know, but that 1st down for these Jaguars helps them out. We've seen them get in these 3rd and long situations. This Rams defense is very good at creating pressures, exotic pressures, as you call them, in those 3rd and longs. This is a manageable 3rd down. We'll see if they can convert. It's critical that they get some drives going.
3rd and 2. They'll pass it. Mercedes Lewis with what I believe is his first catch of the day. And that's good for Jaguars' 1st down. And there's been a lot of talk about Mercedes Lewis this year. He rededicated himself to the offseason. No more coast-to-coast trips back out to Los Angeles. He stayed here in the offseason, worked out, dropped some pounds, gained some lean muscle mass, and he's gotten off to a pretty good start.
He's a beast. The guy is 279 pounds playing tight end in this league. He's got that kind of ability to catch the ball and can maul you blocking.
Pick up a 5. Looking deep. Center of the field. Picked off. No. Dahl can't hold on, and you've got to have those. John, I know as a former safety, you're cringing when you see a guy drop one like that.
Yeah, and a wonderful read by Craig Dahl. He makes up a lot of ground. You see David Garrard put it up and Craig Dahl right there. But you just have to finish these things. On the successive drives, we saw Ron Bartell on the previous drive drop an interception. We now see Craig Dahl drop one. If you're 0-5, you're trying to get that first win, you have to make those plays.
You have to make that. Intended for Sims Walker. Resets it, 2nd down. Slant. And there are the flags. Intended for Holt, working on Bartell.
It's going to be PI. His hands were all over him.
Pass interference. 24 the defense. Automatic first down.
See Bartell and Torrey Holt. You can put that left arm in the NFL on that receiver. You cannot pull and impede his progress. And Torrey Holt, Hall of Fame player, he'll get that call every time. Ron Bartell, a couple PIs on his old teammate, Torrey Holt.
The Rams now with 6 pass interference penalties on the season. That leads the entire NFL. Guess you'd rather have them close than not there at all. Jags go back to the run. Jones-Drew inside for a couple. Laurinaitis. He's there for the tackle, pick up a 5. Second down and 5. Draw play to Jones. And the Rams coming in ranked 23 in the NFL in run defense, giving up 4 yards a crack. Well, they look like more of a team that's ranked in the top 10 in run defense so far.
Doing a nice job bottling up Maurice Jones-Drew. Again, you go back to Steve Spagnuolo. He's never wavered from his details. And Glenn Flageol, the defensive coordinator, they're doing a nice job of teaching these guys. They haven't wavered in what they're teaching. The players respect that, and it's starting to pay off on the field here.
Flageol, the Rams defensive coordinator, dialing up some good stuff that far. Third down, not much pressure. The throw and the catch, an easy first down. That's to Mike Thomas, 4th round pick this year out of Arizona. They're hoping he can emerge as that number 3 guy.
And again, we see right here, I said it to open this drive, the Jags have to be more productive on first and second down. David Garrard told us, you put this defense in 3rd and 6 situations, they're going to come after you. Right there, they get in a 3rd and 4. The Rams bluff blitz, come out, and they make a nice conversion to Mike Thomas, who they're really high on in the slot, these Jacksonville Jaguars.
Rashad Jennings checks in, he gets the play action, screen to Jennings. Jennings won't get out of the backfield. Nice job in the backfield of sniffing that one out. Clifton Ryan, we've already called his name a couple times today, along with Witherspoon.
And Ron, David Garrard, you know, he lost 20 pounds in the offseason, looking good, feeling good about himself. He had enough time to go get a little drink of water. That's the life of the NFL quarterback. You get to go enjoy a little water in between plays. And I don't remember ever doing that as a DB. Do you, Ron?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Just like they always sub out wide receivers when they go deep and they come back and they're tired. Did we ever sub out?
No.
A loss of 3 on the play. Jones-Drew back in, 2nd and 13. No pressure, check down, Drew. Jones-Drew went backwards. Jonathan Wade, the corner, came up and got it. Nice job by Wade, shutting down the play. That would have gone for at least another 5 yards.
Yes, it was. It's not easy to hit that little bowling ball Maurice Jones-Drew in. You know, 5'7", but 208 pounds. That tells you how thick he is. He usually doesn't go backwards. Jonathan Wade, little cornerback, puts a nice pop on Maurice Jones-Drew. It's usually the other way around. Maurice Jones-Drew popping.
Exactly. Pickup of 8, 3rd and 5.
Here comes the pressure.
They bring it, they pick it up, and they can't make it work. A late flag goes down. Mike Thomas working on Jonathan Wade. Boy, that was late.
Yes, it was.
Boy, and Jack Del Rio is out to the numbers.
20 the defense. Automatic first down.
Well, Del Rio better be careful. I can't say I much blame him. That's late.
We talked about this Rams defense. You put them in third and long, they're going to come with the blitz. You're going to see Laurinaitis and Craig Dahl wrap around. And I think it should be Steve Spagnuolo on the field, not Jack Del Rio. That was a late call on the pass interference on Wade.
Go back to Maurice Jones-Drew. And you're right, Spagnuolo should have been the one out in the field.
I don't know what Jack's angry about.
Look, it's
gain of 2 yards, 2nd down and 8.
Steve Spagnuolo, first year as head coach. Mentioned last 2 years in New York as a defensive coordinator under Tom Coughlin, old Camp Coughlin, as they like to say. A defensive assistant under Jim Johnson, the late Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator in Philadelphia, 8 years there. So between those two men, he's got a lot of football knowledge, especially defensively. That one tipped Leonard Little has already caused some drama. He hit Gerard a series earlier in what looked like a fumble, but it was ruled an incomplete pass.
See Leonard Little right there, getting his hands up. If you aren't going to get to the quarterback, what do they tell D linemen? They tell them, get your hands up. Leonard Little having a nice game today, putting on pressure and making plays like that. He thinks he should have caught it. But Steve Spagnuolo, I tell you, his players are very impressed with him. James Hall talked about him. He said he hasn't flinched. He hasn't wavered in his message. All the details since week 1. And again, we're in this 3rd and long situation.
They're 3 for 3 this drive on 3rd down. Long corner route. Incomplete, knocked away. Nice job by Quincy Butler. Working on Sims Walker, and Butler coming back after a $7,500 horse collar fine last week on Percy Harvin. Makes a big play to get off the field.
And really Quincy Butler having a nice play, and see Mike Sims Walker has the ball in his hands. Quincy Butler, nice job of getting his hand in there and ripping. We saw him with the pressure early on the fumble that was challenged and overturned, and now he's making plays in the secondary. The role players are coming up big for the St. Louis Rams.
So Podlesh needing to hang this one up and let it go out inside the 5. He aims toward the corner. Wow. Quick throw outside. That's Keenan Burton. Burton good enough for 2. 2nd down and 8. Play action. I don't think Jackson was ready for that one. That was a quick one.
We talked about how critical it was for Jacksonville to be productive on 1st and 2nd down. Your defense is doing a nice job if you're the St. Louis Rams. You get 1st and 2nd down, you only get 2 yards. You put yourself in a tough 3rd down situation. We'll see if the Jags can get any pressure. This is something they've struggled to do all year long.
Third and 8 throw caught, but short of the 1st down. That's Fells. And Fells will be a healthy yard shy. And that'll bring on Donnie Jones to punt it away. That's a 3 and out. And that's one thing that Jack Del Rio talked about, the keys to success. We have to be able to get off in 3 downs. Talking about the defense, get off the field.
And it wasn't because of pressure. They went with a 4-man rush, decided, but just kept the ball in front of them. And Rasheed Mathis is really having a nice bounce-back game. Comes up, makes the tackle, and keeps them short of the 1st down.
Jones has not punted well this game. New return man. That's Mike Thomas. That's the rookie. Fluttering punt. Once again, that one doesn't make it past the 30. Corner blitz. They pick everything up. Plenty of time to throw. Long route. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Of course, that's Torrey Holt. Just fit that one in front of Atagwe. A pickup of 18.
See a high throw but look at Torrey Holt. What a pro, getting 2 feet in. Those are the little things he does that has made him so special.
Jacksonville went to a no huddle, but on the other sideline for the Rams, they throw out the challenge flag. I think Spagnuolo questioning whether or not, perhaps whether or not, Holt got in.
St. Louis is challenging the ruling on the field of a completion at the sideline.
Exactly. John, after looking at the replay during the break, it looks like Torrey Holt did not get both feet in, but the bigger question, is that worth burning a challenge at this point in the game?
Well, you know, I think it is, and I think Torrey Holt is going to be out. It's that left foot. Watch the left foot right there, and I think it's right there, out of bounds. It's close.
I don't know that he had possession. He drags the right before that, but I don't know that he had possession when he tried to drag the right foot.
But I think it's worth it. I mean, you're 0-5. You're playing a tight 10-6 game where field position is critical, and every yard counts.
Here's Jeff.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. St. Louis is charged with timeout.
Wow. So, I mean, you've got 2 officials standing on either side of the line, down the sidelines, looking at the play. They review it. they still say it's a catch.
Again, watch that left foot, and I don't know.
Close one. So, more importantly, I guess the Rams lose a timeout in a game like this. I would argue that timeout may come into play and will come into play at some point. First and 10 play action. Crossing route, it's there. So they go right back to the guy who just caused all that drama during the replay. And Torrey Holt moving the chains again. That one for 16. Back-to-back long-range receptions for Torrey Holt.
I think when Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator for this Jacksonville team, says we got to make some plays, let's go to Torrey Holt. You know, guys have a history in this league, and when they go back to play their old team, they play well. And that's just human nature. It's what great players do. Torrey Holt's a little banged up, hurting there, but he's certainly making his imprint on his former team here today.
And he's gone over 100 yards for the 47th time. Quick throw inside. Thomas juggled it, but holds on. Second and 4 throw went backside on the slant route, and they got Mike Thomas. Thomas, the Pac-10's all-time leader in catches, and really looked at as more of an all-purpose scoring machine as Holt checks back in.
And Ron, I talked to the quarterback coach for these Jacksonville Jaguars, Mike Shula, yesterday, and he told me this Mike Thomas is a kid that we really want to start expanding his role. He's a very valuable receiver in that slot. Little now routes like that. He's a great athlete, kick returner, punt returner. Get him the ball in space, and you're seeing them 2 plays in a row go to Mike Thomas.
4 catches, 25 yards, 12 on that one. That one tipped and intercepted. Laurinaitis with his second career interception, and it's a huge one. He takes it back to the 26-yard line. Ball tipped coming out. James Hall may have gotten a piece of it. They go back to the ground, Jackson.
Laurinaitis grew up a Vikings fan and always, excuse me, I'll get this in a sec.
This is the end of the third quarter.
So a huge interception there by Laurinaitis. Keeps the Jaguars off the board once again, puts the ball back into the hands of the offense and Bulger. And they'll start the fourth quarter with a 2nd and 8. Quick throw outside, that's complete to Carter. 3rd down and 2. Timeout called by Jacksonville.
They're first.
Inside route, incomplete, knocked away. They tried to go at the rookie Derek Cox, intended for Tim Carter. The defense was great, and that'll bring up 4th down, 3 and out.
See Mark Bulger going to Tim Carter, who's playing in the absence of Donnie Avery. Tim Carter was just signed a week and a half ago, and Derek Cox, we just saw St. Louis Rams, for the St. Louis Rams, James Laurinaitis make a big play. Derek Cox, the rookie for these Jaguars, making big plays for their defense.
Jones averaging 37.8 today. He gets this one away. The ball moves a little bit at the last second. Thomas gathers it nicely and is able to get a couple yards. Dahl brings him down. Jones Drew bouncing around. Looks to be about 5 on the 1st down carry. Better than that, it's 6. Witherspoon wrapped up his legs. Credit with the tackle.
We showed Donnie Jones on the sideline, and I think he was talking about the swirling wind. I was down on the field before the game, and we've got 10 to 20 mile an hour winds, unusual. I talked to Adam Podlish, the punter for the Jags. He said it's hard to predict where it's coming from. We'll see if that plays a factor in special teams late in the game.
2nd and 4. Jones Drew again. He leans forward for the 1st down. So after the 1st down carry by Jones Drew, Gerard looks deep, not there. He's got an ad-lib, nice ad-lib. Better ad-lib, a 1st down, and he's out of bounds. Finally pushed out by Fletcher. But we talked about Gerard and more muscle in the offseason, working out. Dropped the weight, and we saw it there.
It's paying off. I mean, we asked him how that's translated, the weight loss. He lost 20 pounds since the last game of last year in 08. We asked him how it's translated to the field. He said, well, other than looking good in my uniform, my feet feel a lot quicker. Right there, he's showing those feet. And again, I mentioned the leading rusher among NFL quarterbacks, and he's using his mobility to his advantage.
That was good for 10 yards. One back set. Quick screen outside. That's the backup tight end, Zach Miller. Miller, look at Miller go. And Miller has a first down. That's a 6th-round pick out of Nebraska, Omaha. The former college quarterback transferred from the University of Nebraska on over to Omaha and ended up his senior year with 50 touchdowns.
He was a quarterback. I mean, he was a quarterback, 50 touchdowns rushing. But when you watch these Jaguars, they design ways to get him the ball. I think it tells a lot of how high they are on this guy and his athleticism. And the Jags doing a nice job on what's a critical drive for them. They need to get points out of this drive. They need an explosive play, but moving down the field very nicely right now.
Jones-Drew goes back and trucks a man. Boy, you saw the strength there. Just lowered his head. It looked like Fletcher came up, didn't come up low enough. Let's listen in.
Welcome to the NFL, Bradley Fletcher. He's a rookie out of Iowa. And Maurice Jones-Drew, he can bring it. Looks like it got Maurice a little bit there, too.
Rashad Jennings, 7th-round pick out of Liberty, replaces. 2nd and 5. They'll go to Jennings. Jennings with a few. Chris Long on the tackle. Big drive for a lot of reasons, not just to try to secure the victory in this game, to go ahead points, but you look down the road, John, they've got the bye next week. Coming off this thrashing in Seattle, they want to get healthy, not just win-loss wise, but emotionally. Yeah, they want to gear up to go into a pretty serious run coming up in the schedule.
Yeah, this is when you make hay as a team. And Tony Dungy, one of the things he said, this is the most important part of the year for football teams. Late October, early November, all of November, you either go up, you go down.
And he's trying to go in. It's Jones-Drew, gets away from the horse collar, 9 yards for pay dirt, and he gets it down to the 1. A nice block there by Mercedes Lewis. 26 big ones and a first down, goal for the Jaguars.
And that's just will by Maurice Jones-Drew. He's a guy who called out his coaches and teammates. Well, if you're going to call him out, you better produce. And look at him just carry people. He carries that Rams defense all the way down the 1. This guy wants to win. He was disgusted with what happened last week.
Number 65 reported as an eligible receiver.
And it took him a little while today, but they're finally getting him going.
Jones-Drew. He went backwards. I think he lost on that one. But you're right, John. Talking about being so vocal this past week. He talked to the media, pulled guys to the side, man to man. He said, I hate losing. It's not about anything else. I am not a me guy. It's just that we cannot afford to have that kind of performance, referencing the Seattle loss for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think the important thing, he did it publicly through the media, and he did that intentionally for effect, but he talked to his teammates too. That's the important thing. And from a guy with that heart, it's exactly what Jack Del Rio, with his heart, I don't mind that.
2nd and goal. Jones-Drew again. Still short. Rams defense not conceding the 6 points. Lawan Ramsey with the stop.
Maurice Jones-Drew bounce. Lawan Ramsey and Larry Grant, the linebacker, getting an opportunity to play. Do a nice job keeping him out of the end zone. The St. Louis Rams, 2nd most points allowed in the NFL. They need a big stop here.
Touchdown, Jaguars. He spun right off the hit by Larry Grant. Grant didn't wrap up. And the Jaguars take the lead for the first time today. Scobie.
And you don't think it's important for Torrey Holt to beat his old teammates? Look at him talking to his offensive line saying that's the kind of drive we need out of ourselves. That's what we got to expect. This guy wants this game in the worst way. I've been there. I've played against your own team. You love them, but you want to beat them.
Grew up working on a tobacco farm, and he would get this sticky residue on his hands. He likes to credit that to catching the ball so well. I think it's got a lot more going on than that, but he's getting guys fired up, and you see what it's done. It's translated into big plays on special teams. The Rams offense the last two series resulting in 3 and outs. Here's one reason why you get Steven Jackson running sideways. Let's go back to the touchdown.
See Maurice Jones-Drew going straight ahead. We talked about him being a bowling ball. What do we mean? Well, right here, ricochet off that bumper. And if you're Larry Grant, God gave you arms for a reason. You better use them. You got to bring those arms. You are not going to take a guy like, I appreciate your courage, Larry, but you got to bring those arms against a back like Maurice Jones-Drew.
A loss of 3 on the play.
Ron, I think the loss of Donnie Avery is just critical here. This guy, he's their #1 receiver. They've been without him most of this game.
Bulger floats that one out there. They call it an incomplete pass intended for Jackson. Jackson had a man draped all over him.
Now you set up a 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14 situation. The life is back in this Jacksonville sideline. More importantly, on this 3rd down, on this Jacksonville crowd. It's going to be hard for these Rams with the snap count. The crowd is getting into it. The Jaguars are playing inspired football finally.
And a timeout called by the Rams. The long corner route, and it's incomplete. The ball thrown before Tim Carter even turned around, and maybe a little bit of what you're talking about, John. Quarterback receiver not on the same page. Tim Carter coming in, subbing for the injury there to Donnie Avery.
Well, these guys are pros, but Tim Carter just arrived, off the street a week and a half ago. You don't have the timing down. Mark Bulger's been out. He's probably thrown to him a couple days this week. He wasn't starting. They're really missing Donnie Avery right now. They got to find a way to make up for that loss.
The 3rd straight 3 and out for the Rams offense. Jones driving that one, drives it over the head of Thomas. Thomas decides late to pick it up. It really doesn't do anything with it, goes backwards. And that's Jones-Drew. 2nd down and 7. Play action. Heat off the backside. The long throw outside to Sims Walker. Great play there coming up. That's Ron Bartel.
Bunch of great plays on that sequence right there. David Garrard, beautiful job of getting the ball, get rid of the ball with Will Witherspoon in your face. And then a wonderful open field tackle by Ron Bartel in space. Garrard sees the pressure from Witherspoon on the blitz. Mike Sims Walker in space. Ron Bartel coming up, making a nice tackle in space. Get to that 3rd and long. This is where the St. Louis Rams defense likes the pressure, Ron.
Exactly. This is where you need a play. Rams showing pressure. Look at it. They drop it off instead. Going up the sidelines, and it's incomplete, and a marker goes down. Laurinaitis running step for step for Maurice Jones-Drew, but his back was turned, and Steve Spagnuolo says, no way, it's interference.
And really a nice play by James Laurinaitis right there. Your number's called.
That's interference, number 55 of the defense. Automatic 1st down.
James Laurinaitis right here. He's going to be in coverage on Maurice Jones-Drew, who's going to run just a little arrow route. They try to pick him. I don't know, Ron.
Well, you put your hands up like you're not turning to play the ball.
And referees do look at it. There is no face guarding in the NFL.
There is no face guarding, right.
But I just don't know if there was sufficient contact there. I think that's a nice play by Laurinaitis.
They go back to the run game. And with the Rams offense now, with 3 straight 3-and-outs, the onus does fall squarely on the defense to make a play.
You've got to make a play. We've seen them with the 1 interception by Laurinaitis. They had a couple of other opportunities, and those usually come back to haunt you when you don't make good on your opportunities. They had a couple balls in their hands. They've got to find a way to get off the field, make a big play, get their offense the ball in good field position.
Rams now with 1 timeout. Remember, they blew a timeout on the lost challenge. As we drop under the 5-minute mark. Dangerous throw, intercepted by Leonard Little. Little, did he score? Yes. Touchdown, Rams. Do you believe that? In the final minutes, needing a big play, we just talked about it, Leonard Little makes it on the errant throw by Garrard. And a marker goes down, hold on, extra point is good, but there's a late flag. It's almost like we've got a play script. We just talk about it. And the irony of all that, John, you mentioned it. David Garrard comes into this game with the lowest career interception as we wait for Jeff.
Offside defense, number 95. That 5-yard penalty, the assist on the kickoff.
Mike Thomas deep, struggles with the sun a little bit, gets it under control. Hit at the 23, down at the 25-yard line. The Rams trying to get rid of that longest current losing streak of 15. And we mentioned at the beginning of the game, however, they do play the Jaguars very tough. They're 2-0 against the Jags and very good against AFC South teams, winning 4 of their last 5.
This Rams D, now all of a sudden you get the long interception return. Leonard Little comes back on the field. But they're gassed, you know, get that long run.
Right.
But now you got to come right back up, and you got to continue to make big plays. Keep this Jaguar team out of an end zone. You can give up a field goal, no touchdowns.
Plenty of time, hit, throws, incomplete. Intended for Maurice Jones-Drew, Craig Dahl on the coverage. Torrey Holt has been huge all day long for the Jaguars. 5 catches, 101 yards. But this is the time I've got to believe Garrard is looking for.
Yeah, you know, I think you feed your best players right now, and we saw Maurice Jones-Drew get on chart last drive. I think you feed Maurice Jones-Drew and you go after Torrey Holt. He wants to win this game in the worst way. Put it in his hands.
Garrard out of the box. Nice move. Garrard with the first down and then some. So David Garrard not finding anything downfield. The coverage was excellent. He does it by himself for 13 and a first.
And these Rams were very aware of David Garrard's mobility coming in. Talking to James Hall, their defensive end. He's an accurate passer, he said, but the 2 things we're most concerned about, his run ability, and he's very strong-legged. You see David Garrard break a couple tackles on that sequence. His mobility really coming in handy here today.
Jones-Drew bobbled it a little bit on the handout. He's got a lane and a corner. Maurice Jones-Drew across the 50-yard line and out of bounds. Another Jacksonville Jaguar first down, a pickup of about 18.
Jaguars are relying on rookie tackles. Eben Britton, a rookie out of Arizona. Watch him on the pool. Does a great job getting out in front of Maurice Jones-Drew, putting the block on Jonathan Wade, and Maurice Jones-Drew does the rest. Great execution by the rookie, pulling and getting out front, athletic. And Maurice Jones-Drew, that much room, he'll do damage every time.
And the gutty little Bruin goes over 100 yards, right at 100 yards on 25 carries. Play action, looking deep. In the post, caught. Mike Sims-Walker inside the red area. And just like that, Garrard and the Jaguars answer and come down the field.
See David Garrard here. You start to run the football, play action becomes much more effective. The linebackers get held. Mike Sims-Walker, terrific job of catching the ball with his hands, controlling it all the way to the ground.
12 in the huddle, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Now that may not seem like much, but that could loom big. Jacksonville just hit with a 12-men in the huddle lingering penalty. That's only 5 yards, but at this stage of the game, in this part of the field, that could be magnified.
Every yard's important. Every yard is important. Penalties kill you. Plenty of time for both teams here. You got 3 minutes and 38 seconds left. Jaguars have plenty of time. 2 timeouts for the Jaguars.
Only the second penalty of the day for Jacksonville. Play action. Going touchdown in a crowd. We tried to fit that one in. Mercedes Lewis with 1 catch on the day. Tried to sneak him down the middle of the field.
And David Garrard takes the chance in double coverage with his big tight end Mercedes Lewis. He's comfortable in doing that. He said he'll try to squeeze it into coverage with Mercedes because he's confident, as big as he is, 6'6", 280 pounds, that the only result will be an incomplete pass.
2nd and 15. Rams creeping up. They're in man-to-man coverage. No help. Somebody won. Jones Drew. And Drew is rounded up by Leonard Little, shy of the first down.
Steve Spagnuolo staying aggressive. He brought the house right there. But you leave Maurice Jones-Drew on Leonard Little, a defensive end, as good of a game that Leonard Little's having. Advantage. Jacksonville Jaguars. You see all the guys in the box. Well, right here, you got a one-on-one. Leonard Little on Maurice Jones-Drew. He puts a nice move on him. But if David Garrard puts it out front, I think that's a touchdown.
But look at Leonard Little recover. Makes a nice play. 3rd and 2. Jones-Drew trying to get the 2. The scrum. They push the scrum forward. And I believe he's got the first down. Yes, Jeff Triplett says he does.
You know, and you're seeing 2 teams, you know, I know they're both having rough years. The Jaguars 2-3, the Rams 0-5 on the year, but you're seeing the will of these players. Maurice Jones-Drew driving his legs right there. Torrey Holt with his impassioned play and leadership on the sidelines. Leonard Little all over the field. James Laurinaitis all over. These guys are playing big-time football, and you got to like that.
And here's where Jacksonville has imploded, so to speak. 4 possessions, 2 touchdowns, but a fumble and an interception.
Sounds like the Rams of last week.
1st and goal. Jones-Drew puts his head down, runs through 1. He'll take it down to about the 3. Bartell and 2 others there for the tackle.
The 2-minute warning.
Got one-on-one coverage outside, but I would give it to this guy right here. He asked for the ball. He's paying dividends. He's getting that ball in the end zone twice today. Give it to him. Let him take him in.
There it is. He's got a hole, and he's in. Touchdown, Jaguars. The 3rd touchdown of the day for Maurice Jones-Drew. This half, he has come out and exploded. You said impose his will. Well, he's done it. Going over the 100-yard rushing mark. He said, put the team on my shoulders.
Yeah, the old saying, he talked the talk all week. Well, he's walking the walk today. I think 155 yards, total yards now, and just really imposing his will on this football team. Watch the replay. Eugene Monroe, the left tackle, with a nice block on Chris Long. Chris Long tries to get back in there, but Maurice Jones-Drew is going to keep those legs going. This little guy is showing up big for these Jacksonville Jaguars.
His first year as the featured back, the guy, as we like to say, split time the last 3 years. with Fred Taylor. Still considers Fred Taylor a strong friend. Talks to him on a weekly basis. Signed that big new contract in the offseason. But you know, with that contract comes a lot of pressure.
Absolutely. And if you're the Rams, plenty of time. Minute 53, you've got one timeout left. It's become difficult. Donnie Avery, your #1 target, your explosive receivers out of the game. You got a couple, Tim Carter, who just came off the street. Find a way to get the ball in Steven Jackson's hands, out of the backfield. You don't need to take the shots down the field, but you need to get in position. And remember, Ron, that missed field goal for the Jaguars has made this a 3-point game right now. Excuse me, not the missed field goal, the extra point, the bobbled snap by Podlish, and that's critical in this game. But it gets tough for these Rams without, only 3 healthy receivers, 2 that just joined the team here in the last couple of weeks.
And they're coming off the heels of 3 straight 3-and-out drives, so it's not like they've got momentum going.
Amendola's been an explosive returner since he's joined the Rams. We'll see if he can get something going here.
He'll take this one 5 yards deep. Got a lane for a little bit, closed up. Quentin Groves with the tackle. So the Rams will take over with 1 timeout. And a quick game summary. Jacksonville just taking the lead, but a few minutes ago it looked as though the Rams were going to get out of here with 1. Thanks to Leonard Little. He returns the interception for a touchdown, 36 yards. But on the flip side, Maurice Jones-Drew, of the 2 backs, talking about Steven Jackson, he's the one who stepped up and made his presence known.
And I think it's opportunities. You got to put the ball in your best player's hands. That's clearly Steven Jackson, giving him opportunity to impose his will.
Throwback screen. Jackson, he's got some room. Nice block. Nice move. Jackson. Steven Jackson rumbling. Look at this. First play of the series after 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. And the Rams answer big. Nice block by Richie Incognito.
You talk about imposing his will. You think Steven Jackson wants to win this game? He's carrying that whole Jags defense down the field. Very creative play call by Pat Shurmur. As I'm saying, get the ball to Steven Jackson. Everybody knows it. You fake the run to him, you fake a screen to the left, and you bring it back to the right. Beautiful design by the St. Louis Rams.
38 yards, 1 timeout. They go to the sidelines. That's Amendola. He catches it, but stays in bounds. The clock is running. They have 1 timeout. Pick up a 5.
Remember Josh Brown with already a 52-yard field goal here today.
Bolger, 12 career fourth-quarter comebacks. Oh, nearly intercepted. And you know Rashid has been thinking about that one since he got torched up in Seattle.
Yeah, he did, but that's what, like I said earlier, guys are going to have rough days, but the pros are going to come back, and Rasheed Mathis has done that today. So Keenan Burton, you got to win inside. Rasheed Mathis, that's a pro. He knows he's coming inside, keeps that inside leverage, and has that ball in hand. Could have sealed the game right there.
They need a little bit more room for Brown. 3rd and 5. Amendola had the first one. He should get out of bounds. And he does. Picks up the first. Blitz inside. They pick it up. Knocked away. Nice play by Darryl Smith.
And Ron, Mark Bolger never saw Darryl Smith. Darryl Smith, we've seen 2 opportunities now. Rasheed Mathis just had an opportunity on the pass breakup. Darryl Smith had an opportunity to intercept that ball and finish this game. The Rams getting another life here. They're within field goal range, but you're 0-5. You want the win. Try to finish it right now.
.30 seconds. Rams with 1 timeout left. Bolger throws. He's got his tight end. That's McMichael. They got to get on the ball. They got to get on the ball. No, 1 timeout left. He'll clock it. So this is where we stand. 15 seconds left. 1 timeout. Leonard Little 2 series ago, intercepted a ball, took it back 36 yards for a touchdown. The Jacksonville Jaguars stormed right down the field with the help of David Garrard and Maurice Jones-Drew, and they pounded in the end zone.
For everyone who just joined us, the Rams are playing without their #1 receiver in Donnie Avery. They've played the majority of the game without him. That's hurt, but they've found a way to mount a drive here. I'd put the ball in Steven Jackson's hands.
Bolger out of the pocket, throws it away. Good coverage in the secondary.
Quarterback's out of the pocket.
He's out of the pocket, no intentional grounding call. 7 seconds left.
They're going to go kick it right now.
Yep.
You've got your 1 timeout. 7 seconds. You know,
I know what you're going to say.
Is there time to take 1 shot to the end zone? Again, you're 0-5.
This is for the tie here in Jacksonville. 27 yards, Josh Brown. Clean snap, it's up. No flags. We're tied here in Jacksonville with 4 seconds left. So Steve Spagnuolo, first-year head coach, does the right thing with 1 timeout in his pocket, even though he had 7 seconds left and could have gone to the end zone. He says, no, we'll play for the tie, and we're 4 seconds from overtime.
You know, Ron, and we've been talking about it. You talk about a 2-3 team in the Jacksonville Jaguars and an 0-5 team for the St. Louis Rams. But they've come out today. They've competed. They've played some clean football. Very impressive efforts by both. It's coming down right to the end, possibly over into overtime, and both teams really competing their hearts out today.
In both teams, it looked like a different half for the St. Louis Rams. They came out on fire, got on the board first. Their first points in the first quarter, 17-yard touchdown pass from Bolger to Avery. Avery has since left the game. You brought that up. Big loss for them because they are low in the wide receiving ranks. But then second half, they come off the heels of 3 straight 3-and-outs on offense. They basically shut down. With that last drive, they got back into the game.
Yeah, and the story in the second half has been Maurice Jones-Drew for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He asked for the ball all week. He asked for it publicly. He asked his coaches. Well, he's paid dividends, over 155 yards of total offense, put the ball in the end zone 3 times, and Steven Jackson imposing his will for these St. Louis Rams.
So that ball bobbled. Wilford secures it, 1 second left. You've got 1 or 2 choices here. You go for the Hail Mary and get some luck, or you just sit on it and play for the overtime.
And I think that's the option you take. I think if you're Jacksonville, you got to feel good about the way this second half's gone. You feel like you're taking control of the game, and you're pretty comfortable if you get into that overtime, provided you win that coin toss, that you're sitting fairly pretty.
And that's exactly what they'll do. They'll sit on it, and that will force the overtime here in Jacksonville. Some quick overtime facts for this season. The home team is 2-2 in OT. The team winning the coin toss is 3-1, and coin toss winner scored on the first possession twice. Booth reviews in the OT session. They can only come from upstairs. Steve Spagnuolo sticking with the program. My partner John Lynch made a great analogy to his first few years down in Tampa Bay with Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy and the organization coming under fire for not changing things around after a sluggish start. And Tony Dungy said, no, I am staying the course.
Yeah, he stayed the course. And again, I talked to Tony yesterday. He said as much as it is players getting used to new systems, coaches are learning what their players do best and what they're best at, as we see Mike Thomas, a young rookie, as the returner.
And a great kick there by Brown. Thomas won't have a chance to return. It'll be a touchback.
And I think if you're Jacksonville, again, Maurice Jones-Drew, 99 rushing yards in the second half, 110 total, over 150 in total yards. You put it in his hands and you put it in Torrey Holt's hands going against his old teammates in the St. Louis Rams.
Quick slant. Going away from Holt. That's Mike Sims Walker. Walker active today, inactive last week for violating team rules. They needed him after they got destroyed up there in Seattle, 41-0. He picks up 7. Jaguars hoping they were going to come into this game and sort of breeze right through, trying to get healthy again after that bad game last week. I don't think they anticipated this type of Rams performance, especially on defense. 2nd and 3, corner blitz, safety blitz. Thomas outside, and Thomas will lunge forward for the Jaguar first down.
And Steve Spagnuolo staying aggressive on defense, brings the blitz with Craig Dahl off the corner. Rather than run into that was a called run to Maurice Jones-Drew. You throw the little bubble screen to Mike Thomas and let him work with it.
Ron Bartell, the Rams corner, is down. 5th-year man out of Howard. The Rams have substituted quite a few cornerbacks this season.
Actually, 2 players are down. I think it's Will Witherspoon as well.
Witherspoon is down, as well as Bartell. Now, how many times do you see that? The same play, you lose 2 of your key defensive players.
Yeah, and it hurts anytime, but on the overtime drive, it's especially critical. And these are 2 starters for you, 2 very good players. One, your top corner in Ron Bartell. Will Witherspoon's been a fine player for them for a long time.
Right.
Advantage Jacksonville with the injuries.
So Bartell off on his own power. Witherspoon, boy, he's being helped off. That's certain bad news. Larry Grant will take Witherspoon's place. And Jonathan Wade will most likely come in for Bartell.
And Ron, I can't emphasize enough how critical this is. This is the drive of the game. It's overtime. They score, you lose, and your number 1 corner goes out, and Will Witherspoon, who plays in the nickel package, plays in the base package, he's out as well.
And he'll make a last-minute switch and put Quincy Butler out there at the corner, replacing Bartell. 1st and 10. Long throw outside. That's to Ernest Wilford. And Wilford will have a couple.
And a very nice open field tackle for James Laurinaitis. This guy's been all over the field today, having an outstanding rookie campaign for these St. Louis Rams, playing at a high level, quarterback in this defense. And that's what's key in this league. They're going to catch balls, but you better get them down on the ground, and a great open field tackle by James Laurinaitis.
Second and 9. Thomas thrown to the ground by Wade.
That puts Jacksonville in a 3rd and short. These are the situations they've thrived on. They've been 9 of 13 on 3rd downs today. The 4 that they haven't converted have all been 3rd and longs. Jacksonville does well when they're in these 3rd and short situations. St. Louis tends to pressure up when they're 3rd and long. On these short ones, it's been advantage Jacksonville thus far today.
6 yards on the pickup, all pass thus far for Jacksonville. Surprising because they got to this point by good running. There, they put it on the ground, the 3rd and short, and Jones-Drew picks it up, putting his head down, pounding forward, ran through David Roach, and he'll move the chains.
For those of you who joined us late, Maurice Jones-Drew publicly went out in the media and asked his coaches, asked his teammates for the ball more in the running game and for better effort from his teammates. They got embarrassed last week. He's a prideful player. He talked the talk, and he certainly walked the walk today with 3 touchdowns, well over 150 yards of total offense.
Josh Brown just tied us up on a 27-yard field goal to put it in the OT. Garrard throws, and it's incomplete. That's intended for Greg Jones. IU dropping back with the coverage.
And Ron, Steve Spagnuolo, we see him there as a defensive coordinator, as a head coach, has always been an aggressive defensive play caller. He comes after people. Well, you lose your number 1 corner. Maybe you aren't so sure about being aggressive. But I think from knowing Steve Spagnuolo, he's going to be aggressive. He says, if we're going to lose our way. And puts it on Quincy Butler, Bradley Fletcher, the rookie.
Bradley Fletcher, 3rd round pick this year out of Iowa. They're showing man-to-man coverage. There it is inside. Sims Walker. And a nice tackle there, limiting the yards. Bradley Fletcher coming up.
Mike Sims Walker. We talk about Torrey Holt, Maurice Jones-Drew. Mike Sims Walker's a well over 100 yards today. He was suspended last week. You're going to see him here. You're going to stack the box. Don't go to the run. Let's go to the now route, as they call it, and put the ball to one of our best players in space.
6 passes, 1 run this drive. And the ball has not gone in the direction of Torrey Holt. Surprising, because Holt has over 100 yards receiving on the day. 3rd and 6.
Here comes the pressure.
Inside, the heater, and Mike Thomas has it.
I circled because you get in 3rd down and long, 3rd and +5 with these St. Louis Rams. They bring the pressure. If you bring the pressure, what do you have to do? You have to protect. Maurice Jones-Drew stepping up here, doing a great job of that. This offensive line forming the pocket. Mike Thomas, the rookie, winning in the slot, and David Garrard with an accurate throw. You got a receiver on a safety and coverage advantage, Jacksonville.
Pressure by Tagwe and Wade. Garrard took a hit, but he delivers for 17. Backdoor handoff. Look at Jones-Drew drive the pile. That's a 1st down. And now the Jaguars are in field goal range. As you look at Josh Scobie, he's 2 of 4 from 50 and more this year.
He certainly has the leg. They attempted a 58-yarder with him right before the half that had the distance, just a little left. And the Rams need to come up with the big play here. Somehow, they want to get that first win. You gotta put a stop to this drive.
Jones-Drew again. Keeps his feet moving. It looked as though Long was going to have him in the backfield. Somehow he gets 2 out of it.
But a nice job by Chris Long defeating his block, getting into the backfield, slowing down. See Chris Long off the corner, going up against the rookie and Eugene Monroe. Puts a little slant, gets in the backfield, and then here comes your help.
At this point, it would be about a 41-yard field goal for Scobie. He's 1 of 2 from that distance. 2nd and 8. Running backside again. Jones-Drew again. A pickup of 4.
And Maurice Jones-Drew really holding on to that ball. Remember, he did fumble earlier. He's not been a fumbler in his career, but he did fumble early. He's holding on to that thing. High and tight, as they say. See Josh Scobie getting ready, knowing the game's going to come down to him here.
And it looks like the Jaguars are just positioning themselves to kick the field goal. The Rams offense may not see the field again today. 3rd and 4. They're going the other side, right in the middle of the field. It will be just shy of the 1st, but it's lined up perfectly for what certainly is, and who certainly is the man of the hour, the man of the minute, the man of the second, Josh Scobie. Josh Scobie with a chance to end this thing right now.
And I'd venture to say that Steve Spagnuolo has 2 timeouts, probably going to use them to try to ice Josh Scobie. As we've seen the Mike Shanahan technique where you wait till the very end, call that timeout. Spagnuolo position himself next to the referee.
36 yards, he's perfect. 2 for 2 on the year from this distance.
St. Louis.
Timeout St. Louis, and that's exactly what they're doing.
30-second timeout.
But what an effort it has been by the Rams today. They started off hot. Bolger going down the field, hit Avery 17 yards out. Jones-Drew got it going for the Jaguars after a nice drive and a 4-yard touchdown run. The biggest play of the game, I think, on the other side, Leonard Little, when the game seemingly closed out. Leonard Little coming up with the huge interception and then the return for the touchdown. But Jacksonville answering. They put together a nice drive. Once again, Jones-Drew capping it off with the touchdown. For the win, 36 yards out. No flags, it's over.
That's the end of the game.
So the Jacksonville Jaguars don't take the lead until late in the third quarter. They fight back in overtime and pull out the victory 23-20.